and that's quite effective because Justice Committee deals with those complaints and people talking about it, and it really does help to prevent bullying or any abuse happening at the school.
The students who have been violent at traditional schools, how
I'll call this school meeting to order. Everyone could please first turn off your cell phones.
how do they behave when they are new to your school? How do they maybe change their behavior?
You never know which kids it is. I mean, the sweetest, most sensitive, harmless kids go, "Oh yeah, I got kicked out of my last school for beating people up." Like, unbelievable. They just don't feel a need to be violent.
And direct your attention to the results of previous school meetings. As the chairman of the school meeting, I am essentially the chief executive officer of the school, which means that I do a lot of things from signing staff contracts, and also I'm ex officio on a lot of the important committees, which means that I run a lot of them. I'm automatically, as chairman, a member of those. So things like managing the budget or dealing with staffing and admissions.
Math. They were measuring each other in the block area, this measuring tape.
So they would lie down on the rug and another child would measure them. From there we started looking around. We realized that they were learning math everywhere. They were learning math on the playground, when they were playing hopscotch.
I also run the weekly school meetings and kind of just help to manage the day-to-day school affairs. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor? All opposed?
Economically minded. A penny saved is a penny earned. He tried to use the wood efficiently and burn it efficiently. In addition, there would be less smoke produced because smoke was just unburned wood.
Mrs. Kumar and Mrs. Gomez love to do plays with their classes.
Every year we do a spring play, and the children are involved in every part of the process, from making the scenery to making the curtain for the play. The children also make a program.
The project work involved in the drama that we put on here, the plays, has a lot to do with the parent involvement of making the costumes.
This year we did a tiny seed. The whole premise of the play was learning about how a tiny seed takes its journey and turns into a sunflower. Elena, the tiny seed, said,
"This is not my home."
We have the sunflower, we have the seed, we have the cloud, we have rain.
All the while conducting heat into the room through the stove's walls. By keeping the hot air in the room longer, the Franklin stove used up to 75% less wood than an open fireplace. A marvel of efficiency. It also emitted much less smoke from the chimney. In fact, Franklin wrote with great foresight about not only the need to make our air less polluted, but also the importance of conserving the nation's fuel and its forests, all critical concerns today. Franklin's own Pennsylvania fire.
We have, oh my goodness,
all the animals.
All the
There's
animals.
A skunk, squirrel, dog,
cat, right?
No.
Then finally, getting on stage.
Inch by inch, row by row, you'll never know how a seed will grow.
And Franklin recognized that.
The Franklin stove entices the smoke to linger a bit longer through its second key innovation, the air siphon. Inside the air siphon, smoke from the fire rises up and over the airbox. It's then pulled down through the bottom of the stove by the greater upward siphoning action of the chimney.
Things of just being able to move around in the video game, but also like the math that's involved in them and just reading.
Rather than learning from symbols as we do mathematics and text and things like that, the idea is that young children learn best through play with active materials. And actually, some of my research is sort of looking at that assumption a little bit and thinking about both the positive benefits of that kind of play and learning and possible potential costs or disadvantages.
Serving as postmaster for Philadelphia, Franklin worked on a design to improve the open hearth fireplace favored by English colonists. Despite its cheery appearance, the open fireplace was a miserable heating solution for the northern colony's long winters.
Traditionally, the open hearth in a fireplace, most of the heat passes upward with the smoke and directly out the chimney. The fireplace design doesn't reflect heat out into the room, and it certainly doesn't radiate heat out into the room.
The challenge of heating a house more efficiently fit perfectly into Franklin's interests.
So that parents or teachers can maximize the benefits while minimizing the disadvantages.
You can learn math through abstract concepts, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Or you could learn that 2 transformers against 2, whatever the bad guys are 4 robots fighting.
Math is one of the great sort of debates of unschooling. Can you unschool math?
It combined a hot 18th century scientific topic, the thermodynamic properties of air, with a practical objective, making people's lives healthier and more comfortable. It even tapped into Franklin's passion for what we would now consider environmentalism.
Lots of people who are very interested in unschooling do not unschool math. In fact, choose to use a curriculum for their children.
Could a child learn mathematics informally? Probably yes, but only if there were some attempt to recognize that they need experiences that would lead them in directions. But if you just say, will the default child just put out in the environment, with no specific desire for them to learn mathematics, with no guidance in that direction, how much will they learn? I think it's fairly limited.
He called the fruit of his labor the Pennsylvania fireplace.
Well, here at the Mercer Museum, we have what's been called the only original Franklin stove, or Pennsylvania fireplace, as he called it.
How to use it.
The one question that makes almost all homeschoolers sort of roll their eyes at, like, ugh, that seems like such a simplistic and uninformed question, is the question of the socialization of the child.
Being social is part of what our species was designed for. We are a social animal.
Motion passes. The school meeting is extremely important because it's basically what runs the school. Everything is decided in the school meeting. And we've delegated to the JC to deal with judicial matters, and we've delegated to certain clerks and committees to deal with things. But ultimately, school meeting is the authority.
Everyone that comes to the school is a school meeting member. Everyone has an equal vote. And I feel like the community of the school really teaches kids that they're just as equal as any other person here.
I think our neighbors would describe us as strange. I think they kind of walk by their homes and look over at us with weird glances sometimes, and while all of their kids are getting on the bus in school, our kids are sleeping. They stay up till 3 in the morning, and they wake up at probably 10 or 11 and start their day when most kids are getting home from school. So.
And I think that translates in the school meeting.
It doesn't matter if you're 4 or 16 or 75, everyone gets one vote. Everyone gets to talk, and we're all equals, and we make the decisions together by majority vote.
The world and the school is constantly changing and evolving, and we do modify rules every now and then, and sometimes when we change one, we'll realize that didn't quite work out, and we'll go back and amend it or fix it. And sometimes we realize there's new issues in the world that need tending to.
We think about every.
The curiosity, the lifelong learning, the idea of being a lifelong learner, that for us is very important. And then to create an independent and sort of self-sufficient human being.
With a keen interest in freedom and liberty, that children should be granted those same rights.
You learn in every day in everything that you do.
What Montessori education does almost uniquely is have a prior environment, right, prepared environment where there are lots of activities that are open to students. And students, as they come in to begin the school day, each student individually is able to make his or her own choices about what projects he or she is going to work upon. So for Montessori, this notion of having a sense of control, right, over our own life is a very important theme to her.
How have you fed to this point? Are you considering escaping the next round? Right, crossing out the side door and into the loud, knowing there's nothing to say, desperately running away into the light.
Okay guys, a quick video tonight. Kentucky takes care of Louisville, as expected.
Unschooling is often described as child-led learning or interest-led learning.
No surprise there. Louisville wins one game last year and they go crazy and act like they own the world.
It's like trusting them that whatever their passions are going to link to all sorts of things and bring all sorts of things into their lives, into our lives too.
Unschooling is a form of homeschooling, so it's an educational philosophy. It's where homeschooling could mean school at home, where you're taking the same principles and applications used in school and just bringing them home. Unschooling is more not school.
They act like, oh, we're the best thing ever, whatever. Cal improves to 6-1, takes care of Louisville, very overrated team. It's been proven they played 2 games against 2 good teams. They lost both of them.
The idea that children should explore their interests actually goes back several hundred years. The earliest references I know about are the French philosopher Rousseau, who proposed that basically adults should set up the environment and stay out of the way, that the child has within him or her the capacity to learn, and the adult's job was to set up the environment so that they could sort of explore things.
Cal improves to 6-1, of course. And it is what it is, folks. Louisville, as I've said all year, we was going to win this game. There was never any doubt in my mind.
We're kind of right in the middle where when Veronica or Peter express some interest in some area, I put things in their way to get the things that I think should be in the curriculum into their area of interest.
It was near the end of 6th grade for me, so we thought it wouldn't really be much use to go through to the end of 6th grade.
Never any doubt at all. I just knew we was going to win it. I knew we had the better players. I knew we had the better coach, better fans. Louisville, they will always be the second best program in Kentucky. They will always be the stepchild. When you think of college basketball, you think of Kentucky. That's what you think of when you say college basketball in Kentucky. The first thing that comes to your mind is Kentucky Wildcats. It is what it is.
Madison has a good reputation as a good school district and has a very high spending per student, dollars spent per student. What happened was, because my wife is a genius and she knows how I think, she said, yes, we recognize that Madison is a good school district, but here's a book from a guy named John Holt who talks about how the child can learn, how children are always learning. They're learning from birth.
Louisville, very bad fan base, very bad fans, calling Kentucky players bad names, calling the Harrison twins a joke. Just like I said in my last video, you will know who the Harrison twins are. You will know who Julius Randle is. You will know who James Young is.
It is meant to be centered around the child and centered around your own abilities, the individual home as an individual school.
I've been interested in a lot of like the classic vampire stories like Dracula by Bram Stoker, or one of the newer ones like The Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, and a lot of my friends from the unschooling group are interested in that.
Veronica has lately been into vampires, so my job is to put history,
And this needs to be built into the education process. Here is a quotation. Quote, "These children," that is to say the children in her schools, "have free choice all day long. Life is based on choice, so they learn to make their own decisions. They must decide and choose for themselves all the time. They cannot learn through obedience to the commands of another."